Good morning, everyone. Hey, hope you're having a good Friday. And we're going to jump right in because we have a lot to cover today. So hopefully we'll be able to share screen. Um, so we're going to go kind of quickly just to honor the time of 30 minutes. So just want to know that I will record this. And so some of the things we're going to do is actually going to be off of outside of the presentation. I'm going to actually go into some websites that we are going to show you. So I will send all of this presentation. I'll send the actual recording and all of the website links to you. So all I want you to do is take good notes. So make sure you grab a piece of paper, screenshot something that maybe speaks to you. And this is session 2. If you missed last Friday's session, please just let me know, and I will send that recording to you as well as all the documents and links. But today, August 11th, we're going to do a 30-minute session on the Idea Factory. Specifically, we're going over lead generation ideas that some of our agents that we coach have used that have given some success to their momentum. All right. And then, of course, next week, next Friday is the 18th. The following Friday is the 25th. So please join us for all those sessions, and we'll kind of get ready to rock and roll. So before we go into the actual ideas, I wanted to talk to you about what we call the 7 habits of the failure cycle. This is something that we use in our coaching with individuals. And I don't know about you, but I tend to learn more from my failures than I do my successes, right? When I've failed a relationship, you pause and reflect on maybe what went wrong, whether things that happen. Same with business, right? When a business is not going as well as you want them to go, or a business is not as profitable, right? There's very many pieces and parts to that. The habit of the failure cycle, we're just going to go over 3 today, and then we're going to finish up the last week. But these are things that when we're coaching individuals or teams or businesses, these are the things that we universally see that we fail at. And I don't always love the word failure. I always think that they're lessons that we learn, right? So the first one I wanted to chat with you about is what we call the number one is no prioritization skills, right? So many of us are entrepreneurs and we get excited about the work that we're doing with our clients or the business that we're building. And then we see all of the things that we have to do, right? In our personal life, in our individual, like maybe fitness or nutrition routine for our individual self. And then we also are building this business. And if you're building it inside a team, those tasks that the admin or your other teammates are doing, right? So trying to figure out how to prioritize your day and see what's the most important, right? So a few strategies that we coach our people to do is write everything down. Don't keep it in your head. I think when you're starting out, you tend to think, oh, I can keep it in my head. But as you grow and expand a scalable business, you want to write it down. Second reason to write it down is you want to start to see the patterns of the things that you're doing daily, and you can reflect back on some of those past, what we call success lists, because I want you to mind dump all those tasks on a piece of paper. But as you probably know, you don't always mind dump those on a piece of paper in a priority, right? So writing those lists down is important. The 3, numbering them, right? So maybe you have 20 items that you mind dumped on a piece of paper, and you want to reorder the reprioritize though, right? Obviously importance or time sensitive things, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then update the list at the end of business, not at the end of day, at the end of business, right? So many of us are getting kids off the bus, or we have other side hustles, or we have other responsibilities, right? So at the end of the day, whatever time you go to bed, your energy is at the lowest point, right? So if you're ending your business day at 3 o'clock, depending on the schedules you have, make sure you're updating that list so when the next morning you're really ready to go. Okay. So again, this is just one of the strategies inside this failure cycle. The second one, and I am highly guilty of this, is procrastination. Many entrepreneurs almost like the chase of procrastination, right? So there is a book, it's an old school book. It's called Eat the Frog. I don't know if you've ever read this. I pulled it back out because it's a good one. It's an easy read and it just speaks so much. The law of force efficiency basically says there is never enough time to do everything, but there's always enough time to do the most important things, right? So we just have to figure out what the most important things are. There's only 24 hours in the day, and you want to find that counterbalance. The second thing is making sure you create a shoulds versus a must. That kind of folds into that to-do list versus success list, right? Some things you should do and some things you must do, right? In real estate space, obviously, if you have a deadline for a home inspection repair addendum, that's a must. There's no requirement. There's a contractual obligation to do so, right? Should you get on TikTok and make a reel or make reels? Maybe, right? But there's a difference between a must and a should, right? And the last thing inside the book, which I always love, they remind us about that 80-20 rule, right? So they use a reference of that jelly donut. Obviously, the good stuff is that jelly filling in there, right? So 20% of the tasks are for 80% of the value, right? So there's so many things that we do every day that we really don't need to be doing because it's not going to produce the results that we need. So if you're a procrastinator like me, I want you to really think about identifying those tasks that are really going to be important and really eat the frog. Do the hardest thing, the one that you're resisting the most first. There's many, many documentation books that talk about your energy is the highest level in the morning. And so even though you guys maybe are a night owl, your physical brain energy is always the highest when it comes to the morning. All right. So the last one, and then we'll jump into some fun ideas, is number 3 is the time bandits. But these things, they rob us from our time. It's the 10 to 15 minute stuff that really sucks us into a vortex of time, right? So one of the things, and I'll send this to you, is like creating what we call a weekly rhythm register, right? So it's just a simple piece of paper. And so if you really feel like you're stressed under time, one of the things I want to make sure is that you're maybe like writing down um, all the tasks that you're doing in the day and how long it takes that you're doing, right? So really monitoring and auditing your time. The second thing is, I know this sounds so basic, but keeping a digital clock within eyesight. I don't know about you, but if I'm on the phone with someone and I get chatting, right? I look down at the clock and I'm like, oh crap, it's been 30 minutes, right? So really being conscious of the fact of having a digital clock within eyesight, right? So I know we have them on our phone, I know we have them on our computer, but a lot of times we're not looking at those, right? So what I coach people to do is have a digital clock, literally the large ones, you can buy them on Amazon for like $10 to $15, have it right in eyesight. The crazy thing is you'll start to notice your time and your rhythm of what you're doing and how long things take, right? And the last thing, if you've ever coached with me, we personally really go to, instead of time blocking, we call it workflow. We know as entrepreneurs that we have some things that fall in our lap that are really an emergency. Giving you an example would be inventory is low. At 10 o'clock, a listing pops up that a buyer that you have in your pipeline is actually a perfect fit for it, right? So you got to get that first available appointment. You got to hop up and do that. The old school methodology is time blocking, right? So we lead generate from 9 to 11. We know in this market with the way that things are navigating that you can't always just say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm lead generating for that 2 hours, right? So we use a system called a workflow, and we created an acronym called NCAA. So write this down. N stands for new prospecting, new clients, right? So that's that time where you're lead generating, you're working to find new client base. That may be specific blocked workflow time of like creating social media content, or obviously physically making phone calls or text messages or direct messages. The C is current clients. The first A is appointments, and then the second A is admin, right? So what I do, and then you can see a copy of my calendar here, is that I create NCAA in like color blocks. So this is a Google Calendar. And so I can see all 4 colors in my workflow. And in a perfect world, we want all 4 colors every single day. You'll notice in my calendar, the red is the A is the appointments. So for me in particular, I have a goal of setting 4 new appointments every single week, right? So I put those 4 appointments in, even though they haven't actually been created, because that's a reminder, kind of a smack in the head that, hey, I need to fill those spots. Of course, they're going to flow and change based on the person's availability. But this is just an example of time bandits and how it's really important for us to honor the time in which we're the rhythm of the time that we have. Okay, so just a little kind of coaching before we get to these fun ideas of lead generation. All right. So, like we said in even session one, real estate prospecting and marketing is really the same package, right? We're really trying to either reach out to people that we know or people that we don't know. And the key thing with new ideas and fun, creative ways, we're just trying to change the wrapping paper. Change the wrapping paper for ourselves so we aren't as bored, right? Because sometimes real estate kind of has monotonous rhythm to it. It also is making the consumer see us and hear us and remember us in a different way. So these are a few examples of some fun ideas that some of our coaching clients are using. All right. So you may or may not have heard this before, but the golden letter is an idea that is not going away, and it is definitely important. So we're going to give you a copy of the golden letter, but it's very simple, and you're not sending this out to hundreds of people. In fact, you're probably going to send this out to 10 people, right? So basically, it's a letter that says, hey, I have a potential buyer that loves your neighborhood and is looking to buy in your home. So we want to send this to either a street or a very small group of people, like 10, 12 people. You wrote an offer and didn't get it accepted, this is a perfect golden letter. If you have a buyer in your pipeline and there's literally 0 houses for sale in that type of neighborhood or community, this would be a great letter for it. And really the benefits of this letter to the seller is flexible closing time, right? We can maybe make some accommodations and not do a 30 to 45 day close just to honor that. Also, what we consider variable commission options, right? If we're going to do it essentially off market, maybe there's a discussion on maybe not a 6 chickens, maybe there's a lower commission amount. That's up to you based on your business model, but that may be a win-win for the buyer and a win for the seller. And then also the no improvements or foot traffic. There's many sellers that are just don't want to deal with open houses and the photography and the staging, so that might be an option. And inside that golden letter is all of those benefits already spelled out. So I'll send this to you guys. You can customize this, but this is not a mass mailing. This is not targeting a farm neighborhood. This is very specific, things like that. So you may go, hey, how do I get these addresses? So I wanted you guys to just remember, at least in the Richmond markets, we have access to what we call Realist. So I'm going to hop off of this real quick. And you may know this, but I always love to give clarity instead. So when you log into MLS, inside our system, we use inside CVR MLS, we have the access to Realist, which is our tax services. I'm sure if you're outside of the Richmond market, you have access to tax records as well. But the cool thing with inside ours is that it literally creates a label for us, so we can just literally do that. So we go to the search. The cool thing is you can obviously type in an address, but specifically, I always love physically you can create like a subdivision, right? So let's say, whoops. Hold on. Can't spell that. Let me go. Trying to think of a good. I also need to make sure. So make sure you guys are specifically. I have Henrico. Let's just do like Tuckahoe. Right, so you can pull the list from there. You can apply it. You can search for it. It tells you how many properties specifically, right? So it'll pull that. And then when you do labels, it'll actually pull the labels. So right now there's 132. Avery 5160 is the standard Avery label. Then you create and you're ready to go. So that's just an example if you want to either pull a neighborhood and send out these golden letters. But this is just an idea to just reach out to people that possibly may want to sell off market, or at least get the conversation started. All right, so that's number one is either you have done those before, maybe revisit those. We're seeing a lot of results in conversations. And so that'll help. The second one is we want to warm up those lifestyle vendors. We always sometimes especially in the real estate space, we think about vendors like home inspectors, title companies, things like that. That's great, and those vendors are very important to our business, but there's actually more specific things, lifestyle vendors. So vendors that we spend money on, right? So we actually would coach you to literally take out a piece of paper, and we call it the A to Z method, right? Think about every vendor that you possibly spend money on. A, account. B, maybe I don't know, some C could be carpet cleaner, right? D could be dog groomer, right? N could be nail salon. So make sure you're thinking about vendors that are beyond our traditional real estate vendors. I have a personal experience with a vendor where two examples where my carpet guy, so the carpet, he removes carpet, puts new carpet in, gave me 3 referrals with sellers, right? My another example of literally, I got 4 transactions out of my dry cleaner, right? She bought a house, her sister bought a house, and she referred me to additional clients, right? I've actually had another client use that same example and actually reach out to the dry cleaner. They built such a relationship that she got permission to print flyers about her real estate company, and the actual vendor, the business attached the letter to every piece of clothing that went out of the dry cleaner, right? So when you're picking up your dry cleaning, bam, you got a flyer about this real estate agent services. So, and that was for free. It just was a relationship that they built. So one of the things you're going to do is then cross over this into your database, right? So one thing we wanted to talk to you about is a Google form. And again, you may or may not know how to do this. It is so easy. So I want to just make sure that you're aware of how to do this. So if you've never used Google Forms before, it's in the Google Suite. It's under this purple, it's like a purple icon called Forms. And so what we've created is a neighborhood vendor directory, right? So, and I'm going to send you this link so you don't even have to do all the work. But essentially what we did alphabetically, the typical types of vendors that we're looking for, right? So as the consumer is looking at this, so let me just show it to you. Like, so you're going to have this link, and you'll be able to send this, create a QR code. You'll be able to send this by text message or email, things like this. But this is what the actual consumer will see, right? They're going to create the company, fill all the information out. This is the drop-down menu of the type of company or type of vendor that they're going to recommend, things like that. So that's what that looks like. Then what happens, the responses come in here. And you'll see this right here on the upper right. This green is actually a spreadsheet. And so what that will do is as the responses come in, it will actually start to add those automatically, and you'll never have to worry about that. This link is basically like a website. So it will forever always add responses. So you could use this every year. So again, a specific fun idea was that we actually had we have clients that are using this in a digital format. So basically they're taking either a spreadsheet, keeping it simple, and they're emailing it to their database and saying, hey, here's a 100 of the top vendors that we use, babysitters, dog groomers, right? Everything. Or they're taking all of those and put them in more of a kind of a prettier version on Canva. So this is an example inside Canva. And again, I'll send you this, but they're alphabetically putting this in. And so what they're seeing is that they are then either going to email this or mail this once a year. And I'm going to tell you, if nothing really changed, change the year, right? So it's getting ready to be 2024. Now it's an updated vendor list, right? It's another reason or another idea to touch your database and provide value to them. So if you don't have a vendor directory, this is something that you can get started. Use this Google form and use possibly this Canva template as a way to marry the two, and you're providing value. Of course, any future buyer and seller, this should go in there, either buyer packet or listing packet, right? To be able to bring value, things like that. So again, I'll give you all that, but that's something that is underutilized and is an idea that's really effective. I also have people that farm neighborhoods. They specifically go into their neighborhood with respect and honoring the rules and regulations of their Facebook groups, but they're trying to get vendors inside their neighborhood, right? So a lot of the neighbors may have side hustles, right? So maybe they're a teacher by day and they're a crafter by night, right? And they're selling, maybe they have an Etsy shop, right? So what we've seen is that these agents that are using these vendor directories to touch their database or communicate with their farm, it's just a win-win all across the board, right? So use the A to Z method, create a Google form, and then you can kind of take it to the next level and make it pretty with a printed version on Canva. All right, so that's just another idea. How many minutes we got? All right, we got like 8 more minutes. All right, and this one is newer, and I want to make sure and emphasize that this is easy. It looks a little, there's a few steps, but it's not that hard. So I don't know about you, but even as a grown adult, getting a package in the mail dropped off at the front door or Amazon, we tend to get excited about that. All right. So what we have seen is that a lot of our clients are selling homes a little bit outside of their geographical area, aka 25, 30 miles beyond where they normally are, just because inventory is low. So if you were going to do the traditional pop by idea, sometimes the time and the gas money to drop off these $4 or $5 gifts is just not practical. So what we're seeing is that many clients, like this is becoming a big trend, is they're choosing to mail items that can be Popeye items that are mailable, right? So giving you example, like a flat bottle opener. I had someone do this cute idea where they bought these bandanas, $3 a piece off of Etsy, right? And they were just general colors and themes like that. And so basically they threw the bandanas with a cute little card inside, and you'll see on the right hand corner, it's a bubble wrap envelope, and they stick a priority mail shipping label on there and they ship it out, right? So the cool thing is that you don't have to wait in line at the postage store. So one of the cool things is that you can actually go on UPS, USPS.com, and you can print that priority label right from your home printer, pay for it, stick it on the package, and don't even have to wait in line. You just drop it off at your local shipping company. So you can obviously buy just or have just a simple bubble envelope that you can buy anywhere, or you can customize it. So what we have seen, and this is an example of one, we've actually seen them create the image in Canva, then they upload it to what we call Sticker Mule. So I want to show you how easy it is. Again, there's a couple steps there, and then I'm going to show you the actual USPS too. So we use a company called Sticker Mule a lot. Sticker Mule is known probably most for obviously stickers, but they actually have a way. So you literally, I will go into my reorders of all the stuff that we do. We use them for a lot of things with stickers and branding, right? If you're going to do gift bags or anything easy, you can do those. But this is an example of one of the products. How do we get this little guy open? So literally all we did was upload, trying to show you this. So this is actually, literally this is an image we uploaded. Basically it's a 10 by 13, so it's like a size of a piece of paper. And we uploaded this inside there, and then they mailed it to us, right? So they do it anywhere as small as 50 to 100 of those. Oh, yeah, you got that from an unexpected extra. It's good. So you can do those as an idea to kind of customize it. If you're like, Drew, I don't have time to do that, I don't want to spend the extra money, just use a regular bubble envelope that you can get at any shipping store, right? And so ultimately within what happens is then you create this label. So let me show you how easy it is. So technically you get a free account, meaning AKA you basically sign up for your free USPS, but then you pay inside that, right? So the cool thing is that you can actually ship. It's called Click to Ship. Super easy. And then the cool thing inside this is it has like literally an address book. So let's say again that you have your top VIP clients. You throw it in the address book, and the same people, literally their names, emails, and addresses are already pre-done, right? So if you're going to be consistently mailing to the same group of people, either monthly or quarterly, just do it one time, add it to the address box. Then you obviously figure out what product you're going to end up with. And then at the end of this, I'm not going to go through the process because of timing, but it literally, you will either use the address book or you will manually type it in, and you will go through 3 steps, and then it'll ask you the shipping rate. Those envelopes, those bubble wraps is a flat rate, right? Because you are going to do that under, I think it has to be under 2 pounds to do that. So don't be mailing bottles of wine and things like that because it'll get crazy. And then what it prompts you to is basically that label. And so you can, if you can see that, the priority label, the cool thing is that you can print it on a regular piece of paper, and I use like clear tape. You also can actually go online. There's Avery labels that are the exact same size of those priority mails, and they just peel and stick off, and you just slap it on there and you're good to go. So just another idea of maybe a different way to do pop-bys. I had somebody that did this basically for like ice cream month. And so they did a small like $5 gift card to the local ice cream shop. They put a cute little, I think it was actually an ice cream scooper in there. And it was a cute way to do that. And honestly, it saved gas, time, and money. The average cost for something like this is like $5 to $6 to mail, plus the cost of the items, right? So if you're going to spend $3 or $4 on a bandana, $6 to mail, you're probably going to be around the $10 range, right? So maybe you're not going to mail 100 of them, right? You're not spending $1,000, but maybe you did 5 or 10 of those, just something a little bit different, and it saves you time. Maybe it's those for those outliers that unfortunately you just don't have the time or want to spend the gas money. All right. So just those are the few things, and we're kind of out of time. Next week, we're going to cover 3 more additional ideas. But again, just giving you some flavor and ideas of new things. We are in goal setting workshop mode. So if you do want to join one of our goal setting workshops, please let me know. We currently have 12 of them scheduled with various brokerages and vendor partners. So we can slide you in and get you into a seat there. If you think you want to provide one specifically for your team or your brokerage, please reach out to us. Use the scan the QR code. And last but not least, if you have any ideas, right? So we've got a lot of clients sharing their ideas of lead generation strategies. But if you have one that's been successful and you're willing to share it with us, I'll give you credit. I'll give you props. Email that to me at drew@thefreedomcompanies.com. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week on the 18th for another Idea Factory session. And I'll be sending, again, all of the recordings, all of the links, all the website links, all of the Canva templates, all the things we talked about today in an email. So look out for that. If for some reason you don't get that, check your spam. And if it's not in your spam, please reply back to me. Maybe we somehow inadverted a letter or a number in your email, but we should be sending that to you later today. Well, enjoy the rest of beautiful Friday. It's 10:30. I want to respect your time. So have a great day, y'all. And I'll see you next week. And keep coming up with fun ideas to lead generate and attract more deals. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.